Hey, what's going on, guys? So, welcome to the show. Um, as you notice, we don't have Robin right now. He had a meeting or something going on. I don't know, he had something going on, or maybe just bailed out on us. Who knows? But yeah, I'm sure he'll be joining us here in a bit whenever he can. But anyway, welcome to the show. We appreciate you guys checking the show out. Let's go through the shameless plugs and stuff, if you would. Go to YouTube and sign up for LLF Radio and subscribe to the channel, and you can catch all the episodes and everything there on YouTube on the channel. So if you would go and sign up for that. Take that off there. Of course, I'm not sure what all is available right now at Ashmore States, but there's the information, ashmorestates.net, and you can contact Robin at the phone number that's going across the screen, or ashmorestates.net. And I'm pretty sure there's a calendar on there too. If you are looking to book something, you can check out the calendar and get what's available and all that good stuff. As for dates and everything, I'm pretty sure most of the Saturdays are gone, I think. He did say a while back there was a few that was possibly still available, like late in the year. But yeah, you can go in there and check the calendar out, and I'm sure there's other days left too. There's some Fridays and Sundays, and during the week, I'm sure there's some dates that are probably open if you're interested in booking. So head over there to ashmorestates.net and check that out. The charity, of course, some of you probably know and some of you probably don't, about my charity, Lost Limbs Foundation, that helps amputee kids. I can't even talk. We help amputee kids with prosthetics that can't afford them. And you can go to lostlimbsfoundation.org, check out the website. I've been toying around with it, and it's got a new look on it. So go check that out. We've got shirts and stuff you can buy from the charity. There's shirts for Rhodes Hotel and everything on there as well. Because as you know, the next thing I'm going to talk about is Rhodes Hotel, which is owned and operated by the Lost Limbs Foundation. So let me get rid of that. Pull up this. And speaking of Rhodes Hotel, the next public investigation coming up is Saturday, August 13th. There are still tickets available for the next public investigation. You can go onto the website, go under events, click on that, and you can buy tickets there. Another thing that's going on, of course, we don't handle the tickets. I don't have the link in front of me right now, but anyone that was a fan of Holzer Files, we've got Shane Pittman's going to be here at Rhodes Hotel next month on Friday, August 12th. So be sure to go to like Facebook or Twitter or wherever if you're following Shane, and you can get that link to buy tickets and stuff for that event. I know that there are very low number of tickets being sold for it, and I think most of those are probably already gone. So if you are interested in that event, go and check out like Shane's pages to get the information for that. Also, end of October, Saturday, October 29th, we are doing an event. As some of you probably know, the Asher Walton House is 2 houses down from Rhodes Hotel. We've had people asking us when we're going to team up to do an event together, and it's finally happened. So Saturday, October 29th, you can go to rhodeshotel.com to buy the tickets. 2 locations, 1 ticket. And we're only doing 20 tickets. So there'll be 10 at Asher Walton, there'll be 10 here, and we'll be rotating people back and forth throughout the night. That way you can investigate both locations. So feel free to go there and buy tickets for that. And if you are looking to book private investigations at Rhodes Hotel, again, go to the website, and we got a calendar on there. You can check out the dates that are open. My sister handles the bookings. Usually she is up to date on everything. So most of the time, if you look and see an open date, it's most likely going to be open unless someone just contacted her right before you did and booked it. So, but yeah, head on over and check out the calendar and see what's available, and book up those dates. And one other thing is, as you do book up Rhodes Hotel, it does help the Lost Lunas Foundation. So you get to investigate. You're helping out a good cause at the same time, and we appreciate it. So thank you for that. And Robin's not here, but I am going to look around here and see if we got Tim available, and going to pull our guest Tim Shaw in here. So see what he's up to.
Hey, how are you? I haven't seen you in quite a while, man.
It's been a while. Yeah. Yep. I think the last time was Michigan, probably Paracon.
Paracon? But do you know where we first met? Do you remember?
Give me a minute. It's been a while. I don't remember. It's
Randolph Infirmary.
It was Randolph, wasn't it? Yeah, that's right. That's been a while. I don't. I'm glad you remembered it.
I was thinking about that, because I'm going, I've known Mike for a while, and and I know you through Nick Groff and everything, and it was like, where did we first meet? And I racked my brain, and I actually found an old photo somewhere of you and I there, and I was like, that's where it was. I remember that now.
I'm glad you remembered it. I'll be honest. If I don't remember, I'll be like, oh, I don't remember. But I knew it was in an event, but I was thinking of somewhere around here, but because I was thinking about that too, when we talked about you coming on to the show, and I was just like, let me think about this, and then I just kept racking my brain for nothing because it didn't work. I'm glad you remembered though.
Listen, I don't remember what I'm supposed to be going to the store for, but I can remember stuff like that. That's the way it works.
Yeah, I'm horrible when it comes to the store, and I'm horrible with names. I'll admit it. I'm so bad with names.
Even as a medium, I'll be honest with you, people. I get the sounds. I get like the sounds of their first letters or something, but that's it. I don't. And in real life here in reality, Mike, first of all, you got a good head of hair there, so I know that I would remember you. But I'll be honest with you, for the most part, no, I can't remember names. It's so embarrassing because when you're at events and you're brought back a second or a third year, and you're like these people, and you're like, I was just up in Saginaw, Michigan, at a premiere for Steve Shippey's was The Haunting of Adam Street. And I had helped on the production. So I was there this weekend. I met so many people, or I saw so many people that I know from the Paracons or from different places, or, over the years. I think I remembered 4 names out of maybe 20, 25. And I was like so embarrassed. So I'm at the point now where I go, okay, I'm going to come out and say, I can't remember your name. I know you. And I can remember right where we met, but I can't remember your name. And, people they just laugh mostly, and they appreciate the honesty, but it's like, no, I can't. I'm a duh. I always say when, at churches, like I just served my church on Sunday, and they asked me to bring messages, and I stood up, and as I'm walking to the pulpit, I said, and now I got to apologize to everybody because I have a man brain. Ladies, you know what I'm talking about. I can't remember anybody's name or whatever. And they just start laughing. Hey, Rosa Nill's in the room. Oh, she's my hero, just to let you know.
Yeah, I need to flip over the comments. I'm slacking. Yeah, Rosa's there. Yeah, hey, how's it going? Yeah, thanks everybody for tuning in. Yeah, it's good to have you on. I'm glad that you came on and talked to us, because I know when I had the call-in thing, we never got a chance to get you on. But
yeah, well, it's funny because I have my show from 8 to 9, and then I was talking to the guest right up until about minutes before I came and I got into the green room here, and I'm laughing to myself going, I ain't that important. I'm not that interesting of a guy,
Listen to you. Listen to you. That's why we bring you on the show. And it's nice. When I told Robbin and stuff, when we were talking about, doing this and everything. It's like, it's nice to have those times to where you can just kind of kick back and talk and just, it doesn't have to be like asking you those same thousand times that you get the same
Yeah.
question. You know what I mean? It's just nice to hang out. And I think people like to know, like, hey, ask them what somebody's hobbies are or something that they like to do outside of all this stuff, because that's the only side that we usually see when we go to the
Right. That's
cons and
true.
stuff.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
I mean, if you this is, my right now my office is in my basement, and it's split into two sections. And it's funny when you talk about hobbies, because over there is all my like haunted stuff, and my post-Victorian morning stuff is over there, and all my seance stuff is over there. And in this room is all my American Civil War collection, and things of that
Wow.
nature. And you go and it's funny because people don't, they think of us, what it's like. They think of you as a
Yeah.
one-sided, one faceted type of person, that is paranormal, and that's it. And we're
Yeah.
all have so many different sides to us. So that's the
Oh
fun
yeah.
of being able to go out there and and shoot the bull together.
Yeah. Yeah. Cause I mean, it's, and going back to the cons and stuff, it's like you have that whole week in there, but it's funny how you
You
don't get
have,
much time. Like you're lucky if you like, we might cross paths like one time the whole weekend and get to say something for 2 minutes, and then that's it the whole weekend.
it's true. No, it's so true, because now, first of
Yeah.
all, you'll never find me at my table. That's the first thing. You come looking for me, you will never find me at my table, because I am one of those people that I just can't sit at my table. I'm out there and I
Yeah.
want to say hi to people, and you'll most likely you'll see me like out in the like little mixer area, talking with everybody, and that's just the way I am. I'm
Yeah.
just not like it. But yeah, a lot of times, you're on a definite time schedule. You're on a definite
Yeah.
time schedule, and you need to do X, Y, and Z for the organization, for the con. And then like
Yeah.
you want to be able to go and talk, but then your job is to like say hi to all the people who bought tickets. And you want to be able to go and just be part of that, so that you
Yeah.
can go, you can really just enjoy and let them enjoy like talking to all of us, and getting, and asking us 1,000 questions. So Mike, it's like I'll look up and you'll be like going to the bathroom. I'll be like waving, "Hey Mike, enjoy. I'll talk to you later." And that's what happens. We never get a
Yeah.
chance to talk.
Yeah. Yeah, I talk to friends and stuff too, and I'll be like, "Oh, I'll see all these people and stuff next." Oh, and they're like, "Oh, you get to hang out all weekend." I was like, "No, it's not quite like that." I was like, "You're
No,
lucky if you could talk to someone for more than 5 minutes or so, probably in the whole weekend."
that's true. That's the truth. And I always feel bad about that, but it's the nature of the beast, unfortunately. And normally,
Yeah.
if people want to, talk or tell me a story, I mean, they can always message me on Facebook, because I try to always go and, almost I will say almost keep up with my Facebook message, and I try to answer everything. I do. I really do try and make an effort to answer as many people as I possibly can. Right now, I think I'm about 10 people behind. That I'm just
It's not too bad.
I'm trying to play check. I was, like I said, I was gone this weekend, and then the weekend before I was in uh, West Virginia,
Mhm.
for the go. We were investigating the West Virginia penitentiary, and the Graves Mound across the street. So
Yeah.
I've been running around, and doing I've been doing bucket list stuff is what I've been doing. And
Hey, that's cool.
oh, it's tough. It's tough fitting it in, but uh, it's really, so I apologize to people that have written to me that I just haven't had the chance to either write back or look at some evidence or something that you sent me. So
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Speaking of bucket list stuff, now I have to ask,
Sure.
what's probably the biggest one that on your list that you haven't done yet?
I got a couple. Trans Allegheny is, believe it or
Mm.
not, I've never been there. I've always wanted to go there. It's really it's just something that I have an attraction to, something to pull me there. Now, Mike, I've been around for like
Oh yeah.
way too many years. You know, Johnny, just listen. Johnny Zaffis has got like 3 months on me in age, and like we're we're we've been kicking around like from as a matter of fact, the Ten Commandments that Moses brought down. Well, it was Johnny that actually chiseled them out. I'll just let you know. So he's a lot older than me, but I've never, you know what? I've never gotten a chance to go there, and I'm just that is a place that it totally fascinates me.
Yeah.
Now, as a tourist, as just a tourist, I've always wanted to go down to, and I'm here in Western New York, so I'm about 7 hours away. Is Sleepy Hollow? I've always wanted to go there just to experience
Yeah.
walking around and seeing it, and I've always wanted to, and it's funny because I'm a history buff, and I've slept really on some fields all over the place. I mean, Gettysburg, I've slept out in the field. Antietam, I've slept in the field. Like for
Yeah.
French and Indian War, Fort Ticonderoga in the Adirondacks by Lake Champlain. I've slept out in the fields there, and got that vibe. But to be honest with you, I want to someday be able to go to Appomattox. Now, I've been to Appomattox as a tourist, and and other things, but I've never been able to like stay overnight and really absorb that vibration of what went on there, and uh the sorrow of these men who were defeated, and I've never been able to go and really capture that. So I'd love to be able to go someday and either camp out there, because they have sections there that that you can go, Boy Scouts can camp out there and stuff. But sometimes you might get lucky and be able to go into one of the recreated village homes, and and sleep in there. So that's my bucket list.
Cool. Yeah. That's cool. Yeah. Pretty awesome.
I've been, like I say, I'm huge into Civil War. So I mean, I was when I was younger, your age, Mike, when I was younger, we did like marches. So I did, my great grandfather fought, and I've actually followed his uh his route from Frederick, Maryland to Gettysburg, and
Oh wow.
that was an amazing thing. 25 miles, 2 days it took us to get there. uh you know 80 some degrees in the rain the first day. It was 102 degrees when we crossed over into Pennsylvania. We had for 130th, so we had like 60 people doing it with us, and that was amazing. And then to be able to camp out on the sunken road at Gettysburg, or at Antietam, where so many people had died, and
Yeah.
that really is something that just reverberates within me, and I think
Yeah.
that's a wonderful thing. But yeah, hey, I'm actually, and matter of fact, pretty soon I'm going to be going to a little place in Waynes County, New York, and it's the Wayne County Historical Society, but it was a jail at one time. So I'm looking forward. That actually, I've always wanted to go there, so I have to say
Yeah.
that's on my bucket list too. So I can't wait to be able to do these things. See, Mike, this is what
Yeah.
happens when you retire. You can actually do this stuff because you know it's the
Yeah.
best. One of the best things that happened recently. So I'm making arrangements, so I'm booking a place for my friends and
Mhm.
I to come on a Sunday night, and the rep is going, why would you guys want to come on a Sunday night? And I wrote back, most of us are retired, so we can come on a Sunday night, and we can come to her in a week or whatever. And she just wrote back, LOL, that's the best line I've heard in a long time.
Yeah. Yeah. I have to ask, like going back to, like Gettysburg and stuff, you probably pick up on a lot of stuff. I mean, when you go to those places like that, don't you?
Be honest with you, Gettysburg never. Never
Really?
had anything. Never had anything really. I've had like doors open, and I've had some stuff go on, and like I was put up. I was speaking down there, and I was in the Tilly Pierce bed and breakfast, Tilly Pierce house,
Yeah.
and I had some stuff go on there. But sensing stuff, no. Antietam is a little bit different. Antietam was uh, I don't know why, how, whatever, but I
Mhm.
walked a lot of a lot of the fields. The NPS actually went and allowed me to go out there and walk, and just kind of wander around. Yeah, I've gotten a lot there. I've gotten a lot Fredericksburg and the Chancellorsville fields. So I mean, there's most of the time it's a curiosity, it's a feeling of curiosity, or it's an overwhelming sorrow. Those are the two feelings I get mostly when I'm out in those fields. It depends, but it also, and the one of the places I did get the heebie-jeebies is I can't say where I was because these kind people opened up a church that was a field hospital and allowed us to go in and see on their worship area where the holes were drilled and plugged for the blood to go into the basement, to flow into the basement. And you can see how discolored it all was from the blood. And then we went into the basement and they showed us where, the wounded soldiers had actually gone and carved their initials and their names in like the beams.
Wow.
And it was probably one of the strongest experience I've ever had when it comes to being on site in a place. So I can't tell you exactly where it is because I don't want paranormal investigators to bother these really beautiful people that allowed me to go in there. But because they, again, they're very, very conservative, and paranormal investigators are, they're sort of like, they consider them like one step away from the crazy people out there, but they were so sweet to me and they allowed me to see that. And of course I went in as more of a historian, but I can tell you that the minute I walked in there, you could feel your breath being just like sucked out of your lungs. The hair, I was going to say my hair stood up on end, but the hair on my arms stood right up. It was like, there was one spot where I felt like I walked right through like a wall of static electricity. It was like and it just felt, it made you almost want to weep because it was like, it just felt like you were down there and these people were forgotten. That's what it felt like more than anything else. So yeah, that one was hard. And then again, like the sunken road at Antietam is kind of amazing. But like Gettysburg is funny because it's sort of like I've been there so much throughout my life that it's like home to me, so for me to kind of hang out is just like, I just hang out and just like experience whatever it is. Look at that good-looking guy here. There's a good-looking guy. I've seen good-looking guys before, but you know what? If this guy's got 8x10 glossy black and whites, I'm going to go and pay $20 for one and get his autograph. That's how good-looking this guy is. How you
doing?
Good
to Michigan. Not bad. How are you doing, Tim?
I'm doing good.
It's got to be the white beard, right?
That's it. You know what? You know what? You and I have the exact same hairline. I just cut it a little bit shorter. That's all. That's the only difference. I would say this is wisdom, but you guys know better than that. There's no the only wisdom we got, the two of us got, are because we're wise guys, and that's all we are.
We've just been kind of chatting, just shooting the breeze, talking.
I won't tell you what he said about you, but it's on a bathroom wall someplace, so don't worry about it. Your future is secured.
Just gotta find
That's
it.
Right? I'm used to being on the bathroom wall. It's not a surprise. And if he doesn't put it there, the Kling brothers would. So.
Oh my God, I love the Kling. You know what? I was just talking with Barry the other day. We were texting back and forth. And I'll tell you what, I have so much admiration for them, and they're just the nicest people in the field. And I felt bad that they only got a couple years on TV because I thought that second season they were on was spectacular. But they've never stopped. They're just constantly working. They're constantly got podcasts coming out. They're always doing something, and I think that's great. But yeah, the Brad and Barry, they are a breed of their own, let me tell you.
Now, you were on, I forget which episode you were on with them, though, weren't you?
Fort Niagara.
Okay, that's right. Yep, I remember. I was listening to the podcast when you talked to him recently with that, so it was interesting listening to you talk to him about that.
Well, that was, what, they were the production company was gracious, so gracious. They're just really nice people, and they had come to a local site up in the Western New York area. And that's where I met them. And I was talking to them about, Fort Niagara, and I think the producer was there, and they introduced me, and I was talking to him about it, and they said, we're going to reach out to him, and they did, and they allowed him to come in. And I always remember, one of the big things, in reality, paranormal reality TV is when they do the reveal to you. When they bring you in and they're showing you evidence, that's like the pinnacle of success. You've made it when you've gotten there. And it was so funny because they interviewed me once, and that's cool, and I went home. So I got a call from the producer, and they said, "Hey, you want to come up and see some evidence?" Well, yeah, I'll come on up. I'm 40 minutes away. Yeah, come on up. You know everybody, and I had met the crew previous to that. And I get there, and one of the PAs said to me, "Hey, we're running a little bit late, man. We're running a little bit late. Let me just mic you up, and then we'll eat." And I'm thinking to myself, well, why do you want to mic me up? You're just going to show me some evidence. I'm just going to comment on it. Why are you micing me? So they had the food came in, they ate, and next thing I know, I think it was Brad that was telling me, "Okay, you just walk in, come in this way, be careful of the cables." And I'm thinking, what the heck are you talking about? Listen, guys, you're talking to I might be a psychic medium, but I'm like Forrest Gump in real life. That's me. And it was so funny, but all of a sudden they're showing me all this evidence. I'm sitting there with my mouth open like a duh, thinking to myself, "Holy cow, they're using me. They're doing the reveal to me, not to the director of the site, not to this, not they're doing it to me." And I mean, that was really nice of them to do that. And I can't thank them enough, because they're pretty much the ones that kind of, I won't say launched a career, because I don't consider what I do a career. But I would say that was probably the very first the network show that I actually got on.
Huh. Yeah, that's cool, especially with those guys. They're good guys and
good person, real people. That's what's nice about it. But most of the people that are in the field that are on TV, they're pretty. I get a chance to hang out with them. We're not all like Mike that has all the super secret connections. You know what I mean?
That's right.
But I mean, those of us that kind of every so often we get out and, you stumble into somebody as you're walking out of the men's room, you rub elbows with them. So you get a chance to chat with them a bit. But I mean, for the most part, everybody's pretty much down to earth. There's only a couple out there that, you're like, okay.
So yeah, in fact, I was looking through comments here and all. So yep, I knew you're gonna be in Michigan, so that'd be kind of fun to catch you up there too.
You know what? Michigan is there. Those guys are the unbelievable, the best. And I don't know. You guys know I went under a series of surgeries that lasted 10 years and different procedures and stuff. And they were always so kind to me, and they always brought me back, and I can't thank them enough. And I think the world of them, and the event is an amazing event. So you know what? We're just all going to have to meet someplace. I'll tell you what, we'll figure out one of the slot machines that we can stand by, maybe. And you know what? We'll have cups. And can people give us quarters for the machines?
Yeah.
There you go.
Spread them around, get donations.
Please contribute to our delinquency.
I'm trying to win some serious cash here. Help us out.
Yeah, really, no. It doesn't happen. Everybody goes, "Well, you're a psychic medium. You should know what's going to hit." Listen, if I knew what was going to hit, I wouldn't be here. I'm as dumb as, like I say, I'm Forrest Gump when it comes to this stuff, but then that's just the way it works. It's, the abilities in that are just not made for that sort of stuff, unless you really need it, then sometimes it'll work. But For me, no, you know, not in the cards for me.
I don't know if you guys have talked about your psychic abilities and everything, but have you done some stuff like with the looking for children and things like that as well?
I've done stuff years ago. Actually, years ago, we were doing a case. I have a lot of friends that actually still do it. And I've actually, because I've slowed down to my appearances and that sort of stuff. I've been actually thinking about going back into it. We had a case where we were working at, a missing persons case. And it was neat because we were working at a spiritualist church in the basement. So there was 3 or 4 of us. And we all went into like meditate, started meditating and stuff. And we were sketching stuff out. And between the 4 of us, we put our sketches together. And the problem is our logical brains kind of kicked in, because we looked at it as a map. But what it wasn't quite a map. What it was where the remains of this person who was missing, where they were located. But we couldn't, we weren't sure where, because we're thinking this thing's a map. But the way it was sketched out, it was like what looked like could have been a crick was like a overhanging branch from a tree. And there were, the landmarks were, different. And and unfortunately we had let our logical minds kick in, but we gave it, we sent it in. And actually what happened was they found this woman's remains, and it was directly underneath the tree. And it was directly, the landmarks that we had thought were like, may have been rocks or something, were actually big pieces of, rebar and concrete. So it is something that when that happens, and it's a fulfilling thing. So I really think that I'll eventually be getting back into it once I slow down and retire. I think maybe I think I'll try that. Let's see, I've retired like 6 years now from like reality, so one of these days I'll catch up. But it is something that's neat. A girl that I know. She's very good at it. She's very good at it. I have to say she's much better than I will ever be. She's really she takes that time, and she dreams. What it is she actually dreams it. And when she wakes up, then she draws and sketches out what she sees.
How did the police take you guys doing that? I mean, did the police accept it?
No, they're not. Like, they're not. They're not really too. There are some people, don't get me wrong, because there's a lot of believers on the police force. They always say there's no atheists in the foxhole, and there's some believers in the police force. But they have to always think of public relations too, and they have to be logical about things, and which I understand. But a lot of times you have your civilians that are out there doing combing the woods, especially like the ones with the search and rescue dogs and cadaver dogs. So a lot of times they're far more open to it, especially when they bring their dogs to a certain location and they recognize, and that's what I believe what happened. They recognize something in that drawing that that they can say maybe, and they'll let the dogs go. And I believe that's the way that this woman was actually found, because she had been dead for. She had been murdered, and she had been placed there by her husband probably about 2.5 weeks beforehand.
Well, that's one of the things I was going to mention something about that tonight too. Is like, with the shows and stuff, how the shows are more and more like on televisions and everything. Like over time, that's one of those things I was kind of wondering, like how much more that they're open to looking, at psychic mediums and bringing them in and helping on a case, because now that paranormal shows and all this stuff is out there so much more.
Yeah, it's it's a double-edged sword, and what the problem is nobody wants. It's still something that they really don't want to embrace yet, because of the stigma that surrounds it. I call it the woo-woo stigma, and let's face it, a police chief is either appointed or elected. So to be associated with someone who, embraces that belief can be a political detriment. And I understand that. As somebody who has worked for I worked for a township municipality for 34 and a half years. So I really understand how that can really affect you. So nobody, you don't want to go and you don't want to bring that out. A lot of people will go and they'll say that they'll admit to something and say it's a last ditch effort. Whereas I do know that some local detectives actually do take it seriously, but they can't admit it on TV. They can't admit it on anything. They even can't admit it to their own supervisors that they're doing that, because it can be bad PR. And let's face it, we live in a world that's politically correct now, so we really have to watch. And I know they have to watch themselves. Plus, they have to watch for advancements in jobs and stuff. But it's a shame. It's a shame. I believe more people should be able to do that.
Yeah, I agree. It's kind of nice if you can kind of pass it off when an officer is like, "Hey, you guys ought to really consider this or this," and they might kind of wander off on their own, or the detectives might wander off on their own, and kind of take that into consideration. So
we get. You know what? A lot of us get the calls for the when kids are tagging, and it may be they're worried about it being satanic or demonic or whatever. That's or they're finding something in abandoned houses. That's pretty much what they would actually reach out to us on the record for. That, so it would be more of an expertise and an opinion rather than doing what we would call a projection.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things I was going to ask is, like, do you think that with spirits, like, is it one of those things, what I mean? Like they can, the three of us can be in an area and they're going to look at you and be like, you know what? I can communicate with him versus I don't feel it so much with this guy. These two guys here,
You know what? A lot of times it's pretty neat. Now, I just did here comes my shameless plug that I always try to throw in one per show. Anyway, but I just the episode of the Enchanted Church on Portals to Hell. I was on that, and this is my third time on that show. And what they use me for is a walkthrough. You do the psychic walkthrough. You peg things. You try to bird dog for people. You try to tell them where, like, energy sources are, where it might be strong, and walking in there, it was funny because nobody else got this. Nobody else felt this, but there was a guy standing there and he had this beard on and he's like yelling, and and it's like, he's there all the time, and it ended up being, I believe we identified him as his last name was King, and I believe he was the person instrumental in having this church built that these people live in now. And it was supposed to be in perpetuity, it being a church and not sold. And I believe that's probably why he's angry about it. But it's weird because you walk in and it's like, you get it, it's like bang. And you're standing there going, you guys aren't getting this at all? Nothing, no feelings, nothing. and you're like, you don't realize it. You take it for granted. Or else you walk into, like, I did something, shameless plug number 2 coming up. I did another, I can't think of the name of the mansion. But it's in Staten Island. I should know these things because it was just on this year. Again, this was this year's this year's season. But walked through the place and it was blah blah. It was okay, but it was neat because we're getting ready to wrap. My section's great because what's great about what I do? Everybody else investigates 3-4 o'clock in the morning, dawn. I blow in at 8 and I'm out by midnight. I'm in bed. I got old people time. You know what I mean? I'm asleep in my hotel room, or I'm watching Law and Order with a pizza that I just had delivered. You know what I mean? So it's really a great thing. But it was funny because I was walking down the stairs, and I've known Kat for years, Katrina Weedman, and I love her. She's such a great person. And I was walking down the stairs, and all of a sudden I just got hit with decomp, man. I worked in a hospital, so I know what decomp smells like. And it was just like whoosh, just like wow, you know. And I just grabbed my chest. I was like, just like grabbing it, And it ended up that right in that area, a gentleman had been stabbed to death. And it's just one of those things where you're like, I can't believe people don't get that. They're not getting it, because believe me, I'm nothing special. I'm just, I'm this putz from Western New York, that's what I am. And I just hang out, it's part of my religion. I just take it for granted. And it's so funny because it's like, when it hits like, whoa, just like overwhelming. And it, comes in different waves and different styles. But it's just weird that sometimes I just wonder. I don't understand why other people are not getting it, because I'm getting it that strong, but they're not getting it. So, and come on, give me an opportunity for shameless plug number 3. I'll work on that too. I'll fit one in somewhere.
Yes, sir.
Now you've been on, I think you said 3 times with Jack and Katrina. What's it like working on that? How'd you get hooked up with them to begin with?
Absolutely the best people I've ever worked with. They're a tie for working with Steve Shippey, because Steve Shippey, who does shock docs, and I just finished here's shameless plug number 3. I just thank you. I appreciate that. But I did some work for him on The Haunting on Adam Street, which I was up at the premiere this past weekend in Saginaw, Michigan, and he's great. But the Portals of Hell people the production company is very professional. They're very good. Everything is seamless, is so smooth. And working with Jack is a professional. But let me tell you guys something. A lot of people say that Jack's, a BS artist, he doesn't know anything. He knows his stuff, because in between takes, we were talking all about different things that we have ingested over the years to work, and alter our states of consciousness, and different books that we have read. And he's read some pretty obscure books that I've read, and he knows his stuff. I was impressed. And Katrina's a love, and she really knows her stuff. She's been on. I worked with her. I know her through the cons, but and that's actually, she's the one that brought me in for season 2 at Hotel Monte Vista episode. And she is a great investigator. You don't even see how good she is. You just see what they show you. But she's so thorough, and she really, and she's pretty a kick butt person, so she is sit down and she will just nail it. And she was like that on we had worked together on Paranormal Lockdown too, at the Hinsdale. Oh, shameless plug number 4, the Hinsdale episode. If anybody wants to anybody wants to see that on Discovery Plus, look for me on. And I was just kind of like talking. I didn't do anything real special there. So, but yeah, they're just great people. It was really great. And of course, the Paranormal Lockdown crew, they were professional too. They were just really great. I always enjoyed working with Nick Groff, and Nick is just a nice person. He married a friend of mine, Tessa, and I'm so happy that they have a child now, the 2 of them. So they're just like disgusting. They're like saccharine on Facebook. Oh, I love you. I love you. It's like I like going, oh, you lovey doveys,
Like
I should be ready to go get a
overdrive.
room, or something. But they're just wonderful people. They really are.
And what's bad, they're sitting on the couch next to each other doing this.
Oh, I know. That's and I laugh at that. I know that's what they're doing, But they're super people. They're just super people. But I'll be honest with you. I've only had one bad experience, and that was early on. we were filming a pilot, and I've done several pilots since then and sizzle reels, but we were filming a pilot, and we were at Fort Mifflin. If anybody's been at Fort Mifflin during the summer, you know how miserable it is. It's below sea level. It's humid. It was in its 90s. It was just miserable. And I forget, we filmed down there like probably 4 or 5 weekends, like 3-day weekends, or during the week. I forget how. It's been a while, but the film crew had never seen a paranormal show. Never. No experience whatsoever. The film crew were all former National Geographic people. So this project looked beautiful, but they didn't. They couldn't pull it off because of the fact that they didn't have the experience. You know, they didn't have that wherewithal. And I really didn't like. I didn't like the way it was going. It was micromanaged, and I've never seen anybody be so micromanaged. And people from corporate were on the ground every time we were there, and and trying to tell you what to do, and what you have to say, and you have to do this. And it was like I rebelled against that whole thing. And it was so funny. The house that I'm in now, that my wife and I purchased just before COVID shut down the world, I have a little altar here, and in my collection room. And when I was moving it, I took this effigy up, and I was packing it, and underneath it was a little intention. You guys know what like a little intention, strip of paper where you're writing intention on it. I opened it up, and it said, "Please let this project tank." And it was for that project, and it didn't go anywhere, but that was probably one of the worst ones I did, because they tried to go inform me to say that this has happened, and I didn't want to do that. I didn't want, because like I told them in a conference, I said, listen, I said, if I'm caught like saying that, I mean, I can get blackballed from every spiritualist church anywhere, and that means a lot to me. My religion does mean a lot to me. And you guys just go on and find another project to work on, and I'm the one that gets screwed on this deal. So it wasn't that was my first foray into it, and I didn't think I'd ever do anything on TV or network again. But I guess the powers that be had other things in common. Come on, I gotta find like my next plug number, 5 or 6 we're on now.
yeah, we got to find number 5, right? I think 5.
Number 5,
I had a friend of mine who walked away from a show like that. They said that she was supposed to do it and everything, and they sent her a script. She's like, "What's this?" It's like, "This is the script." She's like, I don't read a script. It's like, "Well, that's what we're going to do." She's like, "No, I'm not." It's like, "Well, that's what you're going to do if you're going to be on our show." It's like, "Well, then it's really simple. I won't be on the show because I'm not reading a script. I'm not doing
exactly." And you know what? I mean, what I loved about, like, the most recent ones, again, The Haunting in Adams Street with Steve Shippey, and The Portals to Hell. They don't tell me. First of all, they don't tell me where the hell I'm going. I have no clue. Again, excuse me. I'm in some city I've never been in. In the case of the Staten Island, that mansion, they had me. I was staying in New Jersey. I had no clue. They blindfolded me. They took me across state lines. I don't know if that's illegal or not. Take an old person across state lines. I don't know, but I don't know. So you don't know. You don't have a chance. This way you don't research it. You don't have any. They don't want you to know anything. They want you to walk in blind, and that's what I love about it. And they don't tell me. They don't try to steer me. They don't say, well, what do you think? Do you think this happened? No, they don't. They'll say, what do you think's going on in here? What do you think? Just what are you getting? And then maybe they'll ask a question so that I expound on, kind of expand on the, whatever I'm saying. But there's absolutely no scripting, no shots or whatever. I just go, and you know what? It's funny, because usually what I like to do is, if I'm going to go and shoot, I like to be able to go to a town that has we have a subscription to a membership to Massage Envy, and I don't want to like plug them, but they're great. But what I like to do is, like, if I go to a city that has a massage envy to it, I try to go to that and book a massage that morning so that I'm so like my bones aren't creaking. Those microphones pick up everything. You're walking upstairs and you're going, "Hey, what is that creak?" It sure wasn't a ghost. Let me tell you, it was my back, or my knee. But what I like to do is that I feel really great, and I'll run upstairs and I let them try to catch up with me. And of course, these poor camera guys, because I know I've done camera work. They're all running up these stairs with their cameras trying to keep up with me. I love it. That's part of the fun of it. You can have with them.
I have to go back, I have to go back real quick to like what you were saying about going across state lines. Could you imagine a cop pulling you over and you're blindfolded in the back seat, cross state lines, and you're just like, what's going on here?
And the producer is actually, she's got a handy cam, and she's actually, videotaping me. So they would be like, what the hell is going on? Is this like a kidnapping case? And of course, the lady who's the producer, she's so sweet, and she pulls out this blindfold. I said, is there something you're not telling me? Are we going to one of those type of clubs? Is that where you're taking me? I never had a blindfold on like that before. I was like, I don't know, those sleep mask things. And she's laughing, but I was like, I don't know. This don't look too kosher, I gotta think about this, but I could just see a cop pull that state trooper going, and she's got the camera on me, and I got the blindfold and I'm seat belted in.
Yeah, that'd be an interesting evening, no doubt about that.
Yeah.
That would be one for the books. I'd have to include that in my memoirs.
There you go. I'm glad to hear that your comments about Jack and all, because I actually haven't had a chance to really watch the shows. I'm usually so busy with everything, I don't have a chance to sit down and watch too much TV at all. But I know when he got the show and everything, I think a lot of it, everybody's like, well, of course he's going to have this TV show. His last name's Osborne, and that's where he's got it from and everything. But it's nice to see that he's probably actually doing this on his own now more than anything.
Yeah, he is. And he works hard, and he does, and he works hard. But let me just tell you a funny story with Jack. So we're at that enchanted church, and it's cold. It was January when we filmed. It was freezing, and one of the PAs were supposed to take me back to the hotel, and I'm talking, this place is in the middle of cornfields. As a matter of fact, when I first saw Jack, I said, "You're not going to put me in a wicker man and burn me in the cornfield, are you?" I was like, I don't know what this. It was. I mean, it was in corn. I mean, there's nothing around. There's a cemetery across the street, and there really isn't too much else around where this is located. And so he's, the PA says, "Hey, would you mind driving back with Jack to the hotel? He's going back." I said, "Well, fine. I don't care. It's getting close. Listen, it's getting close to midnight, and my porridge is getting cold. So I don't want to miss Law and Order. That's an important thing to me. I gotta, even though I've seen the same episode 3,000 times, I want to see it one more time just to see if it changes." And so Jack, we're driving back, and Jack looks at me. He goes, "Hey, you live in the snow belt, don't you?" I said, "Yeah, geez, I do." And he goes, "What kind of a snowblower do you have?" I'm friggin' driving with Jack Osborne after doing this investigation, right? And we're talking about snowblowers. It was surreal. I tell people this, they're going, "What?" It's the honest to God truth. And you know what's so funny, guys? It's probably one of the highlights of my whole life, talking to Jack Osborne about a snowblower, and it was hysterical. But he is such a good guy. He really is. And he is a kingpin with this. He's got so many different productions out. He's got so many different shows he's working on, both here and in the UK. And you know what? He works hard. He really does. And it's not like he micromanages these people, because these people are on autopilot. They are that good. But he really is, like, he watches everything, and he's a kind person, because sometimes, you get people that really don't like psychic mediums or they don't like working with them, but they have to because the network's telling them to. He genuinely is just a kind, nice person. He has a real nice, he never has anything bad to say about anybody that I've heard. And he's just been, and again, he knows his stuff. When he started talking about some of the books that, I read as a younger man when I was, studying, and he read them and he was talking about different parts of it. It was amazing. And I was just so gratified that, I consider him, well, to me, nobody's, who are celebrities? You guys are celebrities. Jack Osborne, no, he's not a celebrity. Most of the guys on TV are not celebrities. You guys are celebrities because you guys take the chance about putting crazy people like me on your show. But he's just a nice person. He really is.
So out of all the TV shows that you've done, what do you think has been probably if I was going to watch one of them, which one should I watch? It's probably one of your best favorites.
You know what? I liked the Hotel Monte Vista in Flagstaff, Arizona, season 2 of Portals to Hell. That's my favorite. That is my favorite. You could watch, I was on a haunting and I had the pleasure of being recreated. So not only am I just Tim Shaw, now I am Tim Shaw as portrayed by. And of course, the guy was bald, a little bit, I would say a little bit more portly than me. He had a black beard, he some of the stuff was just really bad. So it's, if you want to laugh, watch that. It's a Return to Virgin House, and it was nice. And I have to say that they treated me well, and that they did keep a few. They kept some of my interview in, like four different segments. So I was very happy with that. But I'm not a big fan of recreations because a lot of times they're conglomerated. It seems like the story gets put into a blender and then get mixed up and gets homogenized. And then of course for time they're kind of putting everything together, and it's not a true. I don't feel like sometimes it's a true version of what happened or what was going on. But like Portals, again, I always liked that, and I always liked Paranormal Lockdown. I like, and I'll be honest with you, I do love watching anything that's like all about serial killers. So I've been watching, and again, Steve is a friend of mine, Steve Shippey, but he did a great job on all about Ed Gein. That's an amazing one, and I wasn't in on that one, but that was another one. If you guys ever get a chance to do it, but if you want to see me at my finest, I would say that one, the Hotel Monte Vista.
Well, if you really enjoy serial killers, you need to come to my place sometime.
Yeah,
because it's haunted by a serial killer.
No kidding. Tell me about it.
Ask Brad Kling. He did a whole documentary on it. So it's John Wayne Gacy.
Oh my God! I think I saw it.
So yep, it was Killer Coincidence. He had on Strange Curiosities.
Yes.
Yep, that's my place.
Oh, that's awesome. That's
no,
awesome. That's for me. You kidding me? For me, that would. I
think it's kind of cool. I'm kind of into that type of stuff myself, and I've got like Gacy board games and stuff like that. Then you got this guy wandering through your building. That's like, it's like, don't worry, John. I've got your board game over here. I'm respecting you, so I'm too old for him anyway, so I'm good.
One of the neatest things I saw in Gettysburg is they used to have, and the museum is now unfortunately shut down. It was called the Dime Museum, and in the Dime Museum they had John Wayne Gacy's typewriter, I think his Walkman. They had a life-size mock-up of Pogo, the clown, that his alter ego. Locks of trying to think. They had locks of Manson's hair. They had the writings of Ramirez. The Hillside. No, not Hillside Strangler. I'm trying to think who he was. I can't remember exactly. He was one of the guy. He was the guy that like hung out at the Hotel Cecil in Skid Row. But it's fascinating to me because of the fact that the psychology behind it. And I'll be honest with you, I actually, we did a seance once, and somebody, whether or not it's true, whether or not they didn't go into hysterics for some reason, had a temporal possession of a serial killer that I don't want to say his name, but he is now departed. And it was interesting because it was tough to kind of separate them. You know, it was kind of tough to separate them. It was sort of like, I don't know why she had it was a woman, why she had a fascination with this person, but it definitely was something. This attachment was definitely there. It was pretty, to me, I don't get scared at that stuff because it's like, I've been trained, not to get, over involved, over emotional. You have to be in control of any spiritual situation at all times. So, I mean, it was, I kind of snapped into going and separating them, doing something to separating, working with them, breathing, working within self, within some kind of hypnosis, trying to constantly talk to them to break that connection. And sometimes people sometimes are prone to getting attachments, unfortunately. And she was one that I felt that really shouldn't have been there at the time. I felt that she was even beforehand, I kind of had doubts that she shouldn't have been there. But I wasn't running the circus on that one. So I did what I had to do to help out. But sometimes you can't judge, or you can't pick what's going on. Right. Unfortunately, she wrote me later and she said that she hasn't had any problems since that night, I was very gratified to hear that. But other people said that they had nightmares after it, and I don't know if it was a direct cause of the experience, or perhaps something more nastier that was perhaps targeting these people one at a time. So there's a lot more to it. But then apparently, I guess a lot of it just kind of went away and disappeared. Usually, a general attachment will last about 4 days, 5 days. If something is attached to a person in their auric field. But sometimes it's not an attachment. Sometimes it's a little bit more of a heavy duty, lower vibrational personality. And that's a whole different ball of wax there. That's something that you really got to watch what you're doing. And even I will turn around and I've worked with this, and I've worked with worked with exorcists over the years. And even though I'm not, a Christian, but you have to be careful. And if I run into something that I'm not sure of, I make sure that I get a hold of, somebody I know to get counsel. Or if they say step away and refer them to X, Y, or Z, I will do that. So networking is so important so that you know what's going on. And right. I can't tell you how many times I got a hold of Johnny Zaffis because I got all the I've got all this. What did his son say? He's the haunted hoarder or something. I can't remember. I always laughed at that. And anybody knows Johnny. I love. Everybody knows to know Johnny is to love Johnny. But I've had pieces in my collection. I'm pointing because it's my shelving is right on the other side here. And I've had pieces where I've called him and said, listen, I don't know. What do you think? What can I do? And, he's pretty much walked me through all the problems. So you really have to have a good network. And I always feel bad for people that kind of go in half cocked with a good intention and then get run over in the process. And sometimes, especially like in cleansings and stuff, where you're going into a house that's got something there, sometimes they don't realize that you can make it worse, and they got the best intentions and they're just really nice people. But sometimes it just backfires on you. You have to be so careful. This is a piece here. I just got this from my friend Ann. This is from Alois Asylum, and it's a mouthpiece, and I
thought it was like a spreader.
Yeah, and it's for apparently for patients. I don't know the whole story behind it. I don't know how she got it. Sometimes I don't want to know, but it's for people who had difficulty where they didn't want to eat, or and where they would force feed them either through tubing or whatever. And So that just came in, and it's kind of funny because it's like I'm sitting here, and it's got like a weird vibe to it. So tomorrow I'll be like putting this out in the sun for a while, just just kind of let it go. I've already sprayed it down with some Florida water and stuff, but I mean, still got a little bit of a weird vibe to it. Why I have it sitting on my desk? I'm not right. I'm sorry, guys. I'm just not right. These are things that I do.
It works perfect in my place. So, I mean, right below me, I have coffins and body and skeletons and autopsy tables and everything. So,
see, this is why we get along. This is why we see. You know what? It's like the two of us. We could be brothers. Sorry,
Yep.
Mike. You don't have the white beard. For someday you will, but
I don't fit in right now, right?
But
no, I don't have much of it on my desk right now. But yeah, it's all in the other room.
That's it's so funny because we who are eclectic collectors, who it's just like people just like look at us and go, "Dear God!" And what's funny? We had our wills. My wife and I had our wills redone. So I had to tell the attorney what kind of a collection I have because I wanted to go to somebody, and he looked at me and said, "Say what?" What? I said, well, it's an eclectic thing. This is what? And basically, what I had to do is I had to go and I had to do a tape, of everything that's there and, videotape it so that, and I sent it to him and it went into the file. So people, so when I die, people will know exactly what they're talking about, all this crazy stuff.
Yeah, between Ouija boards and Frank's boxes, it's going to be like a paranormal auction here.
Oh my God! You know what? I've got 75 Ouija boards now. I got like 17 of the the old classics. But it's like I rescue Ouija boards. People are like, do you want this thing? I said, yeah, I'll take that. I'd love to have that. Are you kidding me? And a lot of times, once I clear them, if somebody's interested in like I'll do a Ouija board class like once a year. And if somebody I know is really sincere about wanting one and has taken my class, and I know that the guy is not going to, this person is not going to go, when am I going to die? Or, ask stupid questions or Zozo come forth, I mean, I'll give them one, cause I have them. And, but normally a lot of people just want to, they know that if they send them to me, they're afraid to throw them out. They're afraid to break them. They know if they send them to me that I'll, do something with them that won't go and encourage the spirit to break free and run back to the house or something, which yourself, people are afraid of that ever since Witchboard, and The Exorcist, people are freaked about that stuff. So, I mean, I love it, but people are people.
We were doing a practice fire burn at a house for our fire department here. And one of the guys came out, they went to the house, they checked everything before we started on fire. And he's like, hey, you may want to go upstairs to the closet. I'm like, why? He's like, because there's something up there you probably want. And I'm like, what is it? He's like, just go upstairs. I'm not going to get it. I'm like, okay. So I go upstairs, and sure enough, there's a Ouija board sitting in the closet. And I brought it down, and I went over to the owner. I'm like, do you mind can I have this? It's like, I was just going to let it burn in the house. I didn't want anything to do with it. But if you want it, you can have it. Just don't bring it back here. I'm like, well, it's not coming back. Don't worry about it. So
That's
I actually gave that to Birch at the Michigan Paracon a few years ago. And he had everybody sign it, and he raffled it off. And
I was there for that one. Yeah.
That was the one I rescued. Yep.
I was all upset that I didn't win that one. I'll be honest with you. I wanted that one. I wanted it. But yeah,
he came over and says, it's a little bit too big for me to put on the plane. He's like, do you care if I do this with it? And he was trying to raise money for the headstone.
Yeah.
The tombstone out there. And I was like, I don't care. That's fine.
The best story I got about that is, so I'm flying to Flagstaff for the Hotel Monte Vista episode. So we're all set to do that. And when I fly, I try to only carry on, which is my backpack. So they asked me to bring a board with me. My backpack is going through the X-ray machine, comes out, backs in, goes 3 times. And they were just like, the guy looked at me and went, I've seen some stuff. This is my first. So I always love that. And if anybody ever flies out of like Sault Ste. Marie or Pellston, Michigan, you know how small the airports are. And I mean, they are minuscule. And it's like every time they open up my luggage, they always search my luggage. Even if I have a care or a check-in. Well, this last time I had taught seance up there, and I could see where he just kind of picked something up and said, "Oh, I don't know." Just put it down, put the slip in, and let it go. I could see right. He didn't ruffle down. He didn't go. He did not go deep. No, done.
I had that happen in St. Louis once. They ran my bag through, and as it's going through, you're watching the guy, and he's sitting there looking at his monitor, and all of a sudden you see him go to motion to somebody else, and he's like pointing, and they're both looking at the screen real close and all, and he's like, "Is this your bag?" I'm like, "Yeah." I said, "Can we open it?" I'm like I have a choice, and he's like, "Yeah." He said, so they pull it outside, and he opens it up, and he brings another guy over, and he's like, "What is this?" He's like, "Oh, those are Zoom H4Ns. They're great recorders. Are you in a band?" I'm like, "No, I just do paranormal investigating that we're going to use them for recorders." He's like, "Oh yeah, they're great. That's fine." So thank God I had somebody new, because they look like like tasers.
Yeah, they
So,
do.
but
And
yeah,
and actually those are great recorders. I have one here that I
yeah.
use when I go out. But yeah, they're super. They're just they're top shelf. They're top. I don't even know why I have it, because I don't have anything that's top shelf. All my stuff is knockoffs. You know what I mean? Somebody in their basement makes something. I said, I like that. That's almost all my gear.
Mine were all eBay purchases. So you get them as cheap as I can.
Oh, that's what? That's almost all of my audio recorders. Seriously. I have, I don't know, 8, 9 audio recorders. For the most part, I buy old ones because there's not a lot of filters on them. And, or if there's filters on them, you can turn them off. Like my Sonys, you can turn them off. And I get the best results from them. I really do. And I like to use a good recorder if if somebody's doing a walkthrough, so we can record everything that's going on. Or if we're like doing a vigil in an area, so you can catch everything. But if we're just going to do EVP work one-on-one, or EVP blasts, old is good and cheap is even better. If it's cheap, it's for me. I have, to be honest with you, my favorite recorders, I think I paid like $9 used on eBay.
Oh wow.
My old Sonys. I just use old Sonys, and they work wonderful for me.
Well, Mike, it's getting late. You better get your questions in there.
Yeah. I know that we talked about bucket list stuff in the very, very beginning there before Robbin came on and stuff, but so of course, I'm kind of going a little other direction, I guess, somewhat, with this. But if you could investigate anywhere in the world, where would you investigate?
Well, first off, let me just say I'm not a world traveler. I'm one of those people that the continental U.S. is pretty much it for me. I don't have I'm one of those people that just never had that drive. To go to the old, see my roots in Scotland and Wales and England. I never had that drive. So it would have to be here in the United States. And if I could investigate anywhere whatsoever, I would like to investigate Abraham Lincoln's tomb. I would love, of course, being a Civil War buff and everything, that's a lot of it. But I would just love to be able to go in, and I know the sarcophagus it's all encased in concrete now because somebody tried to steal his body and that whole thing. But to be able to go and just go in there with just nothing more than maybe 2 audio recorders and just set them down and ask questions for an hour. That's all I would love to do, and see if I could get something, because to me, that would be amazing. And of course, the second place that I would really like to do it, of course, would be uh, uh, his home in Springfield, Illinois. I mean, that would be a wonderful thing for me.
Tim, we can make that happen.
I would love that.
I'm 20 minutes from there.
Oh, really? I've never been there. I've never gotten a chance to get that. I've stumbled into Illinois a couple times, but I mean, I've never gotten a chance to get really, to a place that I really wanted to be at.
Yeah, in fact, I live in Auburn, Illinois, which is I'm 30 minutes from the hospital in Springfield, Illinois, because we go there. Used to go there quite a bit, but yeah, it's like 20 miles away. So
wow, that's awesome.
Quick joint.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so we'll have to come up sometime to the theater. Hang out here at the theater. We don't even use the first floor. Mike's been here. The first floor of our building we don't even use, and we'll go up to the tomb and go up to the house. The house is definitely haunted. They won't tell you that.
Oh no. Well,
I've caught tour guides when they take you through the tour and everything, and they get done, and I kind of hang around and wait for everybody to leave. I'm like, okay, look, I don't know if you can tell me anything or not, but I'm a paranormal investigator. Have you ever had experiences in here? He's like, I'm not going to tell you I have, but there's some weird crap that goes on in here. I'm like,
well, that's exactly it.
I'm not allowed to tell you.
That's exactly it. At Antietam, we did we marched in. It's called the AP Hill March, where under Confederate General Hill, his corps came from Harpers Ferry, West Virginia, to Antietam, and that's actually what stopped the Union juggernaut, pushing Lee into the Potomac. And we got permission to camp out on what they call which was a staging area above Burnside Bridge. And in the middle of the night, listen, even back then my bladder was old. So in the middle of the night, I had to go, and there's an outhouse or whatever. I got up, out of my little tent, my dog tent, and I went, and all of a sudden I hear this, and I recognize it as the long roll. And that's where, when the drummers would go and play that, when they stopped, it would be the fire, this mass fire. And I'm like, come on, So I heard this, and I heard it a couple times, and I'm like, this can't be right. Somebody's got to be messing with me, Somebody's gonna be like, oh, these guys are up there camped out, So I went down, and I knew the ranger, and I said, Ted, this is what happened. And he goes, oh, you heard the little lost drummer boy of Sharpsburg. And I go, listen, pal, you can tell the tourists this stuff, but don't tell me this stuff, And he goes, no. He goes, seriously, people have heard it. I didn't buy it. So there was like 6 of us in this van, and we're driving, we're coming back to New York, and we're driving. And one of the guys said to me, he goes, did you hear the drummer last night? I said, you heard that too? All of us in the van heard a drummer playing the long roll, but at different times. Huh. Like one at dawn, one, right at, just before we all were waking up. Like I heard it like at 3:00 in the morning. Somebody heard it around midnight, and we all heard it. I can't explain it. At first I thought it was farm equipment, and it's like, what do you can have? I thought it was a pump, and I'm like, and drums, when you start, and I have a collection, can you tell behind me that I have a collection? So I have had experience listening to calf skin drum heads, and it's a different, duller sound than modern drum heads. And I can tell the difference. Hearing it. Sure enough, that's what it was. I mean, I swear to God, I got the hoopy, the Willie G, just telling you about it. Still, to this day. But it was seriously an amazing thing. But I didn't buy it at first until everybody had heard it. So, you never know. You never know. And now to this day, I don't go anywhere. And it's so funny because when I tour, and if I get a chance to disappear, like if I'm at a con and I have like nothing to do during the day, if I'm going to speak at night, I look for historic sites that I can slip off to. Massage envies, tourist sites and thrift stores. Those are the three things. If you're going to look for me, I'm going to be in one of those. And I never travel without at least one of my audio recorders with me. I don't trust the phone recorders. I just don't, because I'm not of that. You guys know. Hey, Robin, you and me. We're not of that generation. Mike's still part of that generation, but we're not of that generation. You know what I mean? We came up from the, hey, look at that great bossa nova reel to reel. You know that.
Yeah,
Oh, this
the
is
wheels
great,
going,
man.
exactly.
You know, yeah, you know.
Sticking the 8
yeah.
track in the slot.
Oh my God, yeah. You know that went into the Charger, baby. That the 8 track, you were cool back then, but it was you know, I mean, I almost never go anywhere without it, because you never know, because you guys know that EVPs can be collected anywhere.
Right.
You know, phenomena can happen any time, and that's why I love doing it. And every so often, like, I'll see a cemetery and I'll pull in and I'll just do like a 5-minute EVP blast, and then later on I'll listen in. And I always remember a friend of mine did that, and he got as clear as day, I'm cold, as clear as day. And it was like, wow. And he was just driving around and he saw the cemetery and he kind of says, I'm just going to pull in the main gate, go in about 50 feet and see what, and he put the recorder on his dashboard, and that's what he got. So you never know.
Yeah, we'll have to talk in Michigan and see about find some time and come down to Springfield. We'll go hit the tomb and the house, and then run out to New Salem, which is only like a 45-minute drive away, where he grew up as a child also.
Yeah. I'll be honest with you. I would absolutely love it. That's like, those are places that, that's like, everybody wants to go to see a castle. Those are my castles. I'm not going to lie. Those are my castles.
No, I'd agree with you there. So, Mike, fire that second one off.
Yep, I stole this from Jenny. So if she's still in here, I apologize, but it was too good of a question for me to not have to swipe it. So the question was, if you could investigate with any 3 people, alive, already dead, or fictional, who would you pick?
Harry, James, Hans Holzer, and I would absolutely love to have worked with Warren. Those are the 3. They're my top 3 right there. Yeah. I'm gonna Ed Warren, who was a pioneer. He was a little bit more the satanic panic type of guy back then. But him and Lorraine, they were they were pioneers. They took the knowledge and they had and adapted it, and they did some good work. They really did. Hans Holzer, hands down, guy was a genius, and he was. I think that guy was definitely he could throw a good party. I think Hans Holzer could throw up a good party, man. He was a New York guy, and he lived in Chaka Khan lived in the same building as they did. When I interviewed his daughter Alexandra many years ago, you could tell what kind of a party people they were. But he rubbed elbows with some really great people, some really interesting people. And I mean, let's face it, the other guy was just he was a pioneer when it came to Borey Abbey, and he went and he really applied a lot of scientific method of what they knew at the time. And I think that you can learn not from what he did, but from the methodology that he did. So like maybe the tools are outdated, but the methodology, that the way he thought about things, I think that's definitely we can apply that to this day. And that's something that kind of like that, what one of my pet peeves are, and I'll tell you, outside of like having all that hair that Mike has, let's talk. This guy's got hair. He's got hair. That's a pet peeve of mine. But one of the pet peeves I have is the fact that when I was coming up the ranks, I was brought up Roman Catholic, but I was also exposed to modern spiritualism, really, like in 1972. You know, I was like 9 or 10 years old back then. And they did stuff like spirit rescue circles and stuff, but they did it old school. You know, they used old stuff. They used vigil more than anything else. They used they used things like compasses and water, putting water in a glass and watching for ripples and people, they just have this. People, I think, now think that in order to be a paranormal investigator, you got to be able to go and pay all this money for gear. And you really don't, because you can break this down to as simple as you want. And I think a lot of the methodologies that I learned as a young spiritualist coming up the ranks and, attending spirit rescue circles and being able to go and pick the minds of a lot of these old timers back then that, they wouldn't even think twice about that. In that religion, you don't really use, I will say, props. That, we couldn't use a Ouija board, but you could go and use a writing planche, which is nothing more than a Ouija board without the board, with a pencil in it. Or you could use a shot glass and put your finger on the shot glass and go yes or no, for yes or no answers. So you could use that stuff. And I think that a lot of stuff is so underused today that I think it would be a really great asset to a lot of modern paranormal investigators in order to do this. And I really do. And I think a lot of people missed the boat by buying all this equipment. Now, don't get me wrong. I have like 3 Rubbermaid totes full of gear that I will never use in my entire life, and probably have enough gear here for about 12 people. But, I don't use a lot of it. And the other thing that a lot of people don't, it's kind of underused, is the whole tradition of dowsing. And dowsing encompasses pendulum work and of course rods and all that. But you have to ask yourself, because you're using like ideomotor response, which is your body actually subliminally moving this stuff. But where do the answers come from? You're the antenna. This is where these answers are coming from. I think a lot of people would benefit by going back and doing some of the old simple ways and some of the more traditional ways, and then kind of mix and match. And if anybody ever sees my kit, it's like I have this little man purse that I take with me now. I listen, guys. I went from the tote with the wheels to a man purse. And I got the filter, and I got a radio filter in there. I got the radio. I got a real small REM pod. I've got a Mel meter I use. I have the music. I love the music box. I love that IR music box. That to me is one of my greatest tools when I go and work in historic buildings or older buildings or buildings that maybe have like a child's energetic spirit there, vibrational spirit still there. Those are things that are really great. But I also always carry a brass pendulum, because the society that I learned from, the Genesee Valley Dowsing Society, which I believe is no more, they would laugh at you if you walked in with like a piece of crystal. They would laugh at you. They all used brass pointers, brass pendulums, and I use those retractable dowsing rods, and I use my dowsing rods, I would probably say 75% of the time, and of course my 2 recorders I take with me. So I mean, that's basically my kit. So I have this little man purse, and I've got a snack in there too, guys, because why? I'm at that age where I need a snack. But we're out there for 4 hours. You need a snack. If I could fit a slice of pizza in there, I would do it. But I have to worry about. I have to take a little like protein bar or something.
There you go.
But I love dowsing, and I love that. And it's so funny, because it's like the further we get away from it. Now, don't get me wrong. I mean, I think that spirit, one of the first things that spirit can learn to manipulate is electrical current and frequency. And that's one of the things that when we cleanse a house, when I go into a house, I ask the owners to turn off all power to the house. The reason why I do that is because if we're working with something that may be intelligent and energetic, where do you think this is going to hide? It's not going to hide up in the crawl space like a little, poof. It's not going to hide in some little corner. It's going to hide in power. Because how many times when we're working do we get battery drains when we're working with a piece of gear? So when we all sat down, a woman that I know who is who practices Strega witchcraft and is traditionalist, and her knowledge came from her grandmother. She and I were talking, and she looked at me and she says, "You got to shut the power off because that's where they hide." And I thought about that for the longest time, and I thought it's true. And to be honest with you, all clearings don't work. All clearings don't work on the first try, but I've had a great success rate by turning off the power. And when I turn off the power, it seems that, and let's face it, when we're going into a place that may have something intelligent, we're basically taking a pencil and we're poking the devil. That's the way that's what I call it. We're basically there trying to go and, get some kind of response, trying to get, this thing to move or convince it to move on. If it's a self earthbound spirit. But since I've done that, I don't get I don't get a lot of reports of like blowback, because I know some people, well-meaning people, that have gone in there and gone into houses and used sage and whatever, and they've had blowback where things they've amped stuff up. And by turning off the power, I do believe that really does rid a lot of it, because now it no longer has a hiding place, some place where it can kind of go into. And I know that's kind of like science fiction to a lot of people, but it makes sense to me. And for me, the proof is in the pudding, and I've had great success with it.
Kind of wipes out all the false positives too from electrical current.
Oh my God, yeah. Well, that's enough. That's a whole nother story. You guys know yourself. It's like it's like the old story. What was that? Did you hear that?
Yeah.
Yes. Someone just passed wind over there. That was not a spirit talking. Believe me. Oh, that smell, that sulfur smell, is definitely not demonic. This is the chicken wings that somebody consumed earlier in the day. That's what that is. So you have to have a little common sense with it. But I really think that I feel that a lot of that is really works, and I hope people try it, and I'd love to. I personally would love to hear, if it did make a difference.
So, well, it's getting late, so we better wrap things up here. Mike, you got anything else you want to run by Tim, or?
No, I don't think so. It's been fun having you on. Appreciate it.
Guys, it's an honor. I'm so thankful that you guys invited me on tonight.
Yeah,
glad you came on.
This is the fun of it. And you know what? It's always nice to hang out with you guys. And, first of all, listen, look at these two dignified guys that I have over the top of my head right now. You can't get any more dignified than these two. Really, really. And I'm down here in the bottom. It's sort of fitting. It's sort of fitting that I should be like down here, and just like hiding. I'm just like,
Only because every time I do something like this, I screw it up and get us in the wrong spots. And
I
haven't figured out. There we go. That did it. There we go. So
hey, don't feel bad. I went and I had my guest today. I was all set to go. All of a sudden, I totally screwed it up. I forget what I hit, and I must have hit leave. Excuse me, leave the speaker or leave the studio or something, and just shut everything down. So it happens. Again, we're not of this age.
I appreciate you coming on with us, Tim.
Excuse me.
Taking time out of your evening with us and all, and looking forward to talking again next month up in Michigan.
We got to seriously. Let's make plans to sit and actually be able to talk.
Yep.
Let's just do it, because otherwise, if we don't make plans, because why? Mike's a social butterfly. I see Mike flittering around, and Mike has got his Mike has got his groupies. Mike has got these.
Oh yeah,
He's got these groupies that follow him around, and they're like, "Oh, Mike, oh, Mike."
I got those leg groupies. They always follow him around, So.
Oh, Mike, you're just so wonderful. Oh, Mike, can I go and can I get you a sandwich, Mike? Can I go get you that sandwich? Oh, Mike, you're just so great. Can I have a photograph with you, please, please? I'm sorry, guys. You know what? It's funny, but it's neat to hang out with guys like you, and you guys are the real deal, and everybody that's listening in. I mean, these guys are the real deal, and that's what's so cool about it.
Oh, thanks, appreciate it. So
it's been fun talking to you.
Have a good evening, and we'll catch up with you next month.
Next month. See you at the end of the month.
Right,
and wear pants this time, Robin. Wear pants. We don't want people to listen. You got good legs, but you're not Speedo worthy. Okay, so we'll see you later.
Hey, you're the one that in the last episode I listened to the Klings talk about running around naked at the fire pit. So don't even go there.
Listen, man's got to have a hobby. When in Rome, I'm just going to tell you that right now. Listen, I did naked. Listen, I did naked maypole with college students back a few years ago. So you know what? You have to do these things.
All right. Night, Tim.
Take care, guys. It's good to talk to you.
Same here. Night.
Bye-bye.
Good guy. Nice to have him on. Wake up over there, Mike. Would you lose your ears? You can't hear anything. I can say bad things about him now. He won't even know I'm saying it. I think Mike went tone deaf. I can't hear you either. So, you're out of... Well, wait a minute. You get your mic muted.
It probably muted itself like once I took these off, but I couldn't hear anything at the end, but where am I at? Look, there's still, there's power to them. They're pretty charged up, but it just went out. Couldn't hear anything. So
if you had the mic muted, you might not have heard anything from it. And so.
Okay, I could hear you guys, but it's like when I talked and said, thanks and all that, you guys couldn't hear me. I didn't realize that, yeah.
Well, next week we got Mike Ricksecker, I think, if I remember right.
Yes.
Okay. So he'll be on with us next week and talk to him about different stuff. He's been to Egypt and I think Ireland recently and wrote a book. He's wrote a few books and really big into shadow figures. So that'll be interesting talking about that. And but yeah, that's it for the night. We're gonna get out of here and we'll see everybody and talk to everybody out here next week.
Yep. Thanks for tuning in, guys, and we'll talk to you next week.
Yep. Sounds good. Thanks much. Talk to you guys later.
Night.
My name is Mike, and I'm the founder of the Lost Limbs Foundation. The Lost Limbs Foundation is a 501c3 nonprofit organization that provides assistance to amputee children in need of prosthetics. I started the charity after my own struggles after my leg being amputated just above the knee. Prosthetics cost thousands of dollars, and the average lifespan is 5 to 7 years on a prosthetic. Kids are constantly growing, so they'll go through multiple prosthetics throughout their life. This is the prosthetic leg that I use, and the cost was about $70,000. The Rhodes Hotel is in Atlanta, Indiana, and is owned and operated by the Lost Limbs Foundation. We are currently doing photo shoots, ghost hunts, and special events to help raise money for the charity. For more information, you can go to lostlimbsfoundation.org. With your help, we can help these kids one step at a time.